What is up, winning team? Today we're going to be talking about One Piece, Luffy, and a lot of things about One Piece because it wasn't today, funny enough, but it was like maybe a couple weeks ago that I finally fully caught up with One Piece. So I only started watching One Piece a couple years ago. I didn't know about a lot of things, and then I found out about anime through certain circumstances. And then my youngest brother, who is currently 15, at the time was about 13, was hounding me, telling me, you need to watch One Piece, you need to watch One Piece, you need to watch One Piece. And I was just like, bruh, what are you even talking about? Like, well, it's not that deep. Like, it's just, Anyways, he was right. Because One Piece has become, for me, after the Bible, I believe is the best well-written story in the world. Like, of all stories I've seen written, it's not necessarily my favorite anime. I have a different anime that's my favorite anime, which maybe I'll talk about today or another day, I don't know. But anyway, point being that I absolutely love One Piece. Like, I don't get why people say, when people say, oh, but it's just too long, I'm like, you didn't get the point, because if you watch at least like 30, 40 episodes of One Piece, there's no way you don't see the reason why you should watch 1,022, as I know I've watched 1,022 episodes of One Piece. And listen, I don't regret spending my time, my availability, my energy, like, on One Piece. Because first of all, it's such a satisfying story to watch. Second of all, the storyline, like, even if which we all have assumptions, which the show is actually producing the assumptions that I have about the world, which I'll talk about in a minute. But, like, just watching it come to fruition and just how the characters are, like, sorry, you guys. Anyways, I'm not really doing well. I already said that in my previous video. So, like, watching Luffy as the leader of the Straw Hat community, you know what I mean? These pirates, they're called the Straw Hats. They're Jolly Roger, whatever. He has a vision of becoming king of the pirates, but then he's just creates this incredible team. And, like, he's a young dude, very young. He ate his devil fruit largely by accident, which I don't think it was an accident. I think he was destined anyway. And he is, like, the type of leader where he's like, I have to be more powerful than, if I'm the captain of my ship, I have to be more powerful than everybody else. And this is this is what's getting to me, because I'm like, so many guys, a lot of men especially, sorry to call you guys out, but I'm just going to keep it for real with you guys. We'll talk about how, a lot of people want to watch anime now. Like, a lot of you didn't care about anime before. First of all, personally, I didn't really know about it. Well, I kind of did in terms of my youngest brother. Not my youngest brother, my younger brother. So my first brother, right? Used to watch some of these shows, but then because he would just tell me about them, so I wouldn't really want to watch them because he would tell me the story plot, which is fine actually. It wasn't a bad thing, like, But anyways, a lot of guys today be like, oh, people don't want to know about anime, people do this, that. I'm like, okay, cool. But you're not like the anime. Like, what was the point of you watching your anime? Like, what was the point of you watching One Piece? What was the point of you watching Dragon Ball Z? What was the point of you watching Bleach? What was the point of you watching Naruto? What was the point of you watching all these different shows? Whatever you watched, right? What was the point? Because it's like, for me, watching One Piece, it's so inspirational. When I see Luffy as a leader, he wants to be the king of the pirates. He's going to also hire others, and he acknowledges consistently that he needs other people on his team to get to where he wants to get to. And he tells them, I can't become the king of the pirates without you. You know what I mean? That's why I've cried through the whole show. I've cried in every story arc. I cried, especially when Sanji, they had the Sanji story arc, and Sanji had to like be around his family because his dad wanted him to marry one of Big Mom, who's an emperor, pirate by the way, one of the 4 emperors. His dad wanted her daughter to marry his son so they could have like an alliance. You know, it's a very historical thing. It's something that's very normal. You know, parents try to get certain kids married together to make certain alliances between certain people. His family, massively known and successful for technology. He was kicked out. Why? Because his dad programmed him and his siblings all to have like this no emotion, purely functional head-based brains where they make just the best decision for the task they have to do. They don't have empathy, they don't have anything else. And he comes out and he's so empathetic, you know, because Sanji as a character, which is an interesting character, you know, and I say this as a woman because he's called a pervert a lot, but I don't necessarily think of him like that personally as a woman, to be honest. You know, because he's very much like, I'm going to protect all the women, like, don't hurt a woman. I will not fight a woman, you know. But he's also the same person who's extremely powerful. Like, he's in the top 3 of the most powerful of the Straw Hat Pirates, you know what I'm saying? So, like, his attitude doesn't attribute to whatever. Anyways, he chooses to save his family, which for me, I just actually completely was shattered again into tears. Not because I wouldn't do it, because I probably would do the same thing as him, but it was just like he had an opportunity to have these people that mocked him and spoke against him his entire life to kill them and let them die, and he chose to save them. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's that person who Mugi wanna know Luffy. Luffy will say, and Luffy scream. When Luffy screams at people, that's what gets to me. And he screamed, I was like, Sanji! Like, do you know what he said? He said, I can't become the king of pirates without you. And I just thought, wow. Like, the humility level, and just every time Luffy shouts at somebody, like, I said, I'm up to date. I just watched Land of Wano, right? And Land of Wano, that's the land all the samurai come from. A lot of the samurai come from there. The guy who should have been what we call shogun in the show, which I believe means general, he was dead, and he was dead because basically he got tricked by witchcraft, which is like, that's why this whole Land of Wano story arc has taken me about 2 years to watch. I watched the rest of the show in about a year. Like, I got into like 900 episodes through a year, but then like, it's taken me breaks to get through the Land of Wano because it's just too relatable to today for me, that it's just hit me too hard. I have to admit, it's just been really hard to to watch, because it just feels a lot like today. Not whether it's my personal life or whether it's the situation of the world itself. So anyway. So in the Land of Wano, you know, the samurai. So there's a main samurai who's the original shogun, who is actually destined to be shogun, the general, whatever, of the thing. He gets taken out and ends up getting dead. I'm like rushing through the storyline because a witch does a little illusion that distracts him, makes him think something else is happening than what's really happening. That's why I couldn't watch it, because I feel like the Land of Wano, like, story arc of One Piece is exactly the story of the world today, and like people don't realize it, right? So anyway, he wasn't happy, and the people he was following weren't happy, as in, like, at the time, all of this is being done for Kaido, who is another emperor. Like, so, to explain for those of you who don't watch One Piece. So you had, at this point, I believe it was Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, and Blackbeard were considered the 4 emperors of the sea, which means that according to the government and everybody else, they are the most powerful pirates. They are the pirates that are like the unbeaten pirates, you know? Previously, the government had their own version of the warlords, but they had these pirates, 7 of them that they trusted, that would have benefits that, like, the government wouldn't try to take them down, but they decided to destroy that, whatever, in a previous season. Well, not in a previous season to Land of Wano. I'm not going to explain why that is. Watch the show. It's very good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like people who watch One Piece and they don't get it, and they don't like, people who've watched One Piece and who think it's too long to watch, I'm like, you are the reason that people like Diddy exist. Because you don't have the brain capacity to understand the entirety of a good, not just a good storyline, but like something that actually makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so in the Land of Wano, and I'm talking about Luffy still. So in the Land of Wano, and basically, long and short story of it, Luffy becomes a ally of this young little boy Momonosuke, you know, and it's his father that used to be the shogun. There's now a fake shogun who's like the most disgusting type of man that exists. You know, the type of man that's like, this is going to sound horrible, but I'm going to say it anyway. Very fat, very ugly, like feels entitled to have like 20 women having sex with him at the same time. Like, just disgusting character, like gluttonous, drunkard, just disgusting in every way you can think of it, right? So this guy is the one who's working with the witches and the warlocks. So that's why he's got himself to this place, even though the very same shogun before him, who is the father of Momonosuke, and the people of all of them respected him and gave him a chance and actually looked after him. Whatever. He had a vendetta. He was like, oh, people, we were destroyed because of blah, 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 blah. Heard it all before. Sounds like Haman in the Bible with Esther and King Xerxes. I'm not going to lie, but anyway, we'll get into that. So he's Shogun, and Luffy means Momonosuke. And the thing about Luffy that I love, and this is what I'm saying why I love One Piece, and no, I don't think anyone in the world if there's ever going to be anybody in the world, it would have to be the man that I choose to marry, which I don't even want to be married at the moment. Although I do, to be fair. In fairness, if I met a man who I thought was actually worthy of marriage, I'd marry him. But I wouldn't just marry anyone. Anyway, not important. Who can understand why I hold Luffy to such a high standard, because Luffy is the type of leader where he's like, yes, he has his goal, and the thing is with Luffy is he doesn't care if you're supportive, if you're on board, if you're not on board, and that's literal. Like, he's going for it, and he believes 100% in himself, but he also believes in people, and he also calls people out, and he also has the courage to speak to people in a way that they need to be spoken to, and not because of just societal customs, right? So in a societal custom, Momonosuke, it was like, well, he's to be the next shogun, so a lot of people, including the samurai, were very like, we're going to speak to him with respect, we're not going to question anything that he does, and not to say that they should have done any of that. But Luffy, when they're all protecting him, Momonosuke is not doing nothing. He's like, Momonosuke, like, this is your country. This is your island. Like, are you gonna, you tell me, because this, everyone's telling me that this is your place, but then they're only talking to me, and you're crying in the corner like a little crybaby, right? You tell me, is this your place? And you tell me, if you tell me that you want to fight for your country, you, Momonosuke, I don't care that you're a child, I don't care whatever, tell me that you want to fight and I will support you. And it was always the voice of Luffy that brought the best out of Momonosuke. In the end, like, he is absolutely killing it now, obviously. You know? And, like, that's how he is. That's how Luffy is. Like, he's like, Sanji! When he called out to Sanji, when Sanji was... Because Sanji was trying to do things for his family, thinking it would be the best for... Because it would be hard for his team, you know, for led by Luffy, to come against his family and his father, because his father's an extremely incredible scientist. But he's like, Sanji, tell me you want... I can't do this without you. What I want to do anyway. And also, tell me you want to be here. Like, and it's not because it's like Luffy's trying to get them to pledge some alliance to him. It's more like, you know what we do. Like, we face these hurdles. We face these things that, like, we're not supposed to achieve, and we achieve them. You know that your dreams, I know your dreams, and I want to see your dreams come to fruition the same way I want to see my own dream come to fruition, the same way I want to see everybody else's dream come to fruition. Because they all have different dreams, the Straw Hat Pirates. You know, Zoro wants to be the best swordsman in the world. Sanji wants to cook food from every single different sea, basically. I think I can't remember which specific area he wants to go to, but there's an area where there's like a mixture of all the different seafood in the entire world in one place. He wants to go there. You know, Nico Robin, she's an archaeologist. She can read the poneglyphs, which are like, what's the word? I now can't remember the normal word. The Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Which send you to wherever her whole place where she lived was completely destroyed. She's the only person who survived. She's high on the government's list. And she felt bad for being a Straw Hat. And you know what? What did Luffy say to her in the moment where he hadn't got her, but she was with the government? He was across from her. And you know what he asked her to say in that moment? Say you want to live. That's why I cried my eyes out. I was like, tell me you want to live. That's what he said. Luffy. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, he gets made fun of for being silly, being goofy, and he is. But then, like, when it comes down to it, he's not. And when Nico Robin said, I want to live, I want to be with you guys, the entirety of the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates, which she wasn't a part of at that point, did everything to save her. And they always have until now, and they always will. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the Straw Hat Pirates, I can't lie, there's a part of me that should have never watched One Piece, because now that I have, I've realized that love and loyalty actually exists. Like, not necessarily in the way of One Piece, like, in terms of big fights, but like, it's possible to love people when it's uncomfortable for you. And that's what I don't think exists in the world. In the world of today, I think love has become so it's become a business deal. You do X, Y, Z for me. I do A, B, C for you. Are you willing to do this? Yeah. Are you willing to do that? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get married, or we're gonna have a friendship. It's so transactional. And that's why I think Luffy is somebody who inspires me. Like, he inspires me in the same way that Jesus does. Because, like, Jesus goes around, like, Jesus went around, like, yeah. And Jesus knows he's Jesus at this point now. And he knows he's the Son of God. He knows he's the, he's going to redeem all of us. His name is the reason that we are saved. And thank God for Jesus again. And again, Luffy reminds me of Jesus, because I'm like, there was more than a few episodes of One Piece. It was Dressrosa, right? And this episode is the one that really wrecked me. Or this story arc, not the episode, the story arc. So we have who is it? Don Quixote, Don Flamingo. Don Flamingo. Don Quixote, Don Flamingo. Right? And then he's this guy, and he has this kind of weird spider-like powers. Listen, this is why I hate spiders. And people always say to me, there's nothing they can do here. And I'm like, that's why you guys are in bondage. And that's why you people trust and listen and believed in those people like Diddy, and I didn't. Because you guys be overlooking certain things you think don't really matter because they seem small at the moment. But in the long run, you realize, anyway. He had this power where he could create strings with his hands. And when he creates his strings, he can do a lot with those strings in his hands, right? So at this point in One Piece, just fast forward, he has created a bird cage. This whole story arc of One Piece actually changed my entire life. He's created a bird cage, right, with these strings around the whole entire island. Now on this island, and again, this is another metaphor I think that is true of the world, everybody was happy. And then there were these toys that had personalities that were like people who would also be a part of people's families. And if you walk there, it seemed all nice and fun, very just kind of not dystopian actually, but anyway. But the truth of it was that all of those toys were ex-friends and or family members of everybody else that have been immediately turned into toys. And as soon as they get turned into toys, their family doesn't remember them. So all of these toys hate their life. They hate their life. They hate everything, because the entirety of the nighttime they have to work. During the daytime they spend with the humans, and they usually go and like pick to be like kind of like a pet to the humans that they would have been a part of. So that could mean like as a mother you turn into a toy. Your husband and daughter, or your husband daughter, they don't remember you, so you hang out with you as a mother, now a toy. You hang out with them during the day, but you're expected to work all the way through the night. It was a horrible situation, right? And again, Luffy's a doer. He doesn't just do what a lot of people today do, where they say, oh, I hope we need more people like that in the world. That is one of the most irritating phrases I've ever heard in my life. We need more people like, be the person yourself. Like, be the person. Stop saying, we hope there's somebody else. Anyway. So then they're under Don Quixote do Flamingo, who basically convinced them all to hate their actual king based on a bunch of, once again, trickery of the site, changing the narrative. Same thing we deal with today. You will fall for somebody who can put on the best play, but you won't listen to the person who's speaking the truth. story of my life. So he eventually, Don Quixote do Flamingo, creates this bird cage where he starts to crush the whole island. So this bird cage is like coming in like this across the whole island, and it's crushing everything. It just so happened that he decided to get all of the best, most qualified most talented, I guess. So I'm just trying to think of the word. Yeah, but anyway, he set up this tournament to have all the best pirates come and fight for this reward. Now, this was all a trap for Luffy, because the reward was the devil fruit that his brother Ace had, and his brother Ace died in Marineford. That was actually the most upsetting moment, by the way, for me, of all of One Piece, because I couldn't believe Ace died. He was actually one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite, before he died. So his devil fruit was like a fire devil fruit. He could turn himself into fire. He could turn anything into fire. He could use fire. He was fire, you know what I mean? And so Luffy didn't want that power to just go to anyone, which obviously Don Quixote, Don Flamingo, understood that. Don Quixote. Yeah, Don Quixote, Don Flamingo, understood that. So he's like, Don Flamingo was basically like, I'm going to create this whole tournament, and the prize is going to be this devil fruit, and I'm going to be able to attract Luffy. Of course, it did work. And it also attracted their other brother, Sabo. Love him as well. One Piece is just so good. So, anyway, why am I mentioning all of this? Why am I telling you guys this story? It's because of this. So, in all of this, with everything, Luffy more than proves himself to all these best pirates of the world, supposedly, which pirates came from all over the world, literally, to compete for this devil fruit, right? They've got some of the strongest pirates in the world. There's about 5,000 of them in total, right? And then, because Doflamingo was already annoyed and wanted to destroy these people going against him, he creates this bird cage with his little freaking spidey powers, right? That's closing in on the town. And it's like the whole country, like there's got these they're not really webs, but they're more like bars, but it's like made of string because of his power, but whatever. And it's destroying the town. And if he has his full breath, because at this point he's like, listen, I'll kill you all and I'll go and find somewhere else. Like, he didn't care about them. Luffy's there, and like, this is the bit that got me. So everybody's fighting. His whole team, they've taken on, you know, the biggest ones. Like, and like, the thing with One Piece is it has like a rhythm to it. You have a rhythm where people are always dealt with from the least to the most, kind of like how games work. So you initially see the small fires destroyed in the thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands, and then it goes up through the ranking of the Straw Hats. So therefore, and sorry to say this, you know, not that he actually exists, but like the top three, Sanji defeats somebody as the third, right? Once Sanji defeats someone, and then Zoro defeats the next person who's more powerful, whatever, then it's Luffy, right? It always happens like that every single story arc. So I knew that going into it. Anyways, so Luffy now is going to fight, and he fought with everything he had, but then he needed some time to recuperate. He needed 10 minutes because the fighting style he was using was kind of new to him. and he needed a break. And this is the moment that hit me more than anything in One Piece. Because as he was taking a break, his whole team are holding off these freaking... They're like, let's push back on the bird cage, right? On these strings that are keeping us in. His whole team. All these other pirates have accepted that we can't take on Doflamingo. So we need to just keep fighting. And Luffy said, I need just 10 minutes and I'll be back. And then when that happened, everyone, the 5,000, however many thousand pirates from all these nations that's supposed to be the best of the best, his own team, the country is cheering for Luffy's name. And they're cheering Luffy like, we need you to destroy him, to destroy Doflamingo. And I thought to myself, that's Jesus. Like, whenever we ever sit there and we go like, oh, I'm going to do this for myself, I hope somebody steps in. Oh, listen, in everything that is good in my life, every single blessing, every single, like, I'm trying to think of the right word. Excuse me. Every single correction, redirection, it is because of Jesus. And it's because just like that, when I heard them chanting, Luffy, Luffy, because they all knew, every single person in that place, whether they be the locals, even the king of the place itself, right? All these pirates who showed up, some of the best pirates in the entire world, his team, everybody was screaming for Luffy. Because he was the only one who had the power to take on everything. And you know what's funny? That when he is now not doing that, this is why I know his team are like the best team. People make fun of him like, oh, he's so silly, he's so young, like whatever. And he is silly and he is young, and I love it. But when it comes down to it, there's no one on the entirety of that whole anime who fights harder for the people they care about. Because for Luffy, it's like, if I can't defeat my enemy, I have failed the people on my freaking ship. If I'm not better than every single one of these people on this ship, I don't deserve to be captain. That's what I'm saying. I don't get about like men today specifically. Like, you watch anime, you watch these things, and like these things, they interrupt my life, because I'm watching this and it's making me think I need to be a better leader. I need to shut up, boss up, stand up. I need to like figure myself out. I need to be the kind of leader where my strength must be greater than those who are behind me. I need to like lead people in the way that they should go as a person. I need to be invested not just in my own vision, in the vision of others, which I've always been anyway. So when I see men today, or whoever's talking about, oh, anime, I love anime. Oh, I used to watch lots of anime. Oh, a lot of people are watching anime these days. Didn't watch it before. I'm like, what were you watching? Were you just watching it just to like tickle your ears and then you just walked away? I'm not saying you're going to be like Goku. I'm not saying you can go Super Saiyan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is real. I'm saying they're real lessons to have learned. And honestly, One Piece taught me the truth about Jesus Christ in a way that I needed to see it. Because when I saw it, when you watch the whole development, and that's why I love the length of One Piece. Because the reason why I think Oda, God bless his heart, because he's finally taken a 6-month break. Bro has been working so hard. He's been working, I think, every single week, taking like maybe 1 week break, like since like maybe before I was even born. So, you know what? I have so much respect for your Oda for taking his break. He deserves it, you know? But, like, when I look at these characters, yeah, and I look at them, I think this sounds like Jesus. Because it's like, when everybody was crying out to Luffy in Dressrosa, and they were chanting his name, the most powerful people, the most powerful pirates in all the place, even the whatever, are chanting, crying, and trying to build time because for Luffy. And why is Luffy doing anything he does? He does it because he met somebody he cared about. Like in the land of Wano now, why was he there and why did he care? Because when he arrived, there was a young girl, gave him a bowl of rice, and then he found out that that bowl of rice was her one bowl of rice she was going to have for potentially months. And because of the state of the country, and he gets involved. And I'm saying, this is Jesus. Like, it's a message of Jesus, a message of Christ. It's like, when people talk about the problems of the world and the state of the world, whatever, I'm like, listen, be the change. Do something to help. Because you know what? I hate my job at the moment. But I can at least say that I'm doing something to work against the system to actually help the kids. That's something, you know. And in a lot of the jobs that I've done it for that reason. Don't just sit there being another chanter or chanting for somebody, like, because that's what I thought. I was like, so if Luffy failed at this moment, does that mean all of you failed? Yes. And people don't think about that because people are so ready to have a savior that they're not thinking about being one themselves, you know? Anyway. So that's the thing I don't really understand about people who say they watch anime, because I'm like, how do you watch anime and you're still a coward? How do you watch anime and be a coward? I'm not saying you have to take on the pressure of your whole town or something. No. But I'm saying you still don't have the bollocks to stand up for something. Like, this is why people think it's crazy that I cry through all the story arcs of One Piece. But of course I do. Because when I heard the people chanting for Luffy and the expectation that he was going to fix this, that broke me. Because in that moment I realized that there's a lot of people in the world who are just waiting and expecting and benefiting off of the people who put themselves in the front line, at the front, right, in the hottest part of the actual warfare, who are willing to die for your coward ass self. When I came to that realization, yeah, changed the game for me. Because I was like, I get it now. I get life and I get the world. Most people are waiting for somebody to hop in. This is why, like, people are like, oh, you want anime is becoming a new trend. Yeah, anime is becoming a new trend because none of you even live like them. You're talking about Dragon Ball Z is so good, Goku, Bleach, this, that, the other. Whatever you want to talk about, Naruto. Listen, I've watched all of Naruto Shippuden as well. I've seen all of Naruto. I haven't watched Boruto. That's the only one I haven't watched. I've seen all of One Piece. I've seen Death Note. My first ever anime that I watched, Akame ga Kill. You know what I mean? I've watched a few animes, to be fair. I've started, not finished, My Hero Academia. There's a lot of animes anyways. We're not going to get into the animes. And I love them. I love them because they actually inspire me. Not just do I love the artistry, like, obviously, like I said, I believe Oda, who writes One Piece, is one of the most, I believe, after the good Lord Jesus, after the good Lord, I truly believe he's the best story writer that has ever existed. Right? Because of the intricacies of One Piece and the fact that people can't even keep up with it, and the fact that he's been doing this for like decades, and his storyline is just so good, right? You watch all these shows and for what? To be a coward? Like, I don't get it. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't get it. So, yeah, that's my point. My point is that, like, what's the point in watching all these animes and being a coward at the end of the day? What's the point of telling us about Goku and this, that, and the other, which is my next anime that I'm going to watch, by the way, properly. I've seen some of Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z, but I'm going to watch Dragon Ball because I've been so highly recommended. I don't really want to watch it, I'll be honest, but I watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to at least give it 20 episodes and then see where I feel. But you watch all this stuff, and what does that produce? Literally nothing. Not understanding, not perspective, not proactivity or any activity. Just, oh yeah, that's why. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there, you guys, because I really need to. Hold on. Okay, sorry I had to grab a refill. But yeah, my point is just like, why do we, like, I don't know. I just think maybe I'm just too much of a proactive person, perhaps, you know? Like, I can't just sit there and just, like, coast along and, like, everything that happens, just coast along with it. Like, I guess that's what people are doing. I'm coming to think about it. But I'm like, when I see this stuff, it makes me address myself. Like, everything that I see, not just anime, like, the world, when I'm dealing with kids, when I'm dealing with adults, when I'm doing my normal daily job, when I'm sitting out in nature and I'm watching the animals. I'm sitting out in nature watching the animals, right? And do you know what's coming to me? I was sitting on a hill, one of the hills that I sit on sometimes when I record videos. And all I saw was, there was flowers, there was a lot of flowers like in the grass, but not like beautiful flowers that like would stick out to us as humans, but they were flowers, right? And I saw all the bees. And the scripture that came to my mind was about, like, how, you know, if the animals of the world, if God feeds the animals of the world, why would he not feed you, kind of thing. But then the other scripture that came into my mind was about just the fact that the bees show up because they're expecting that the Lord will deliver. And that was the thing that hit me that day. It was like, the bees are here because they're expectant. They go out flying because they expect that they know the Lord has a blessing for them and has nutrients for them, you know. And this is what I'm saying. I'm just like, I don't get how I guess I don't get how people are so detached from these things. And so many of the signs are in front of your face, like Luffy. They're all chanting for Luffy, Luffy, and it was making me actually cry. That was the time when I came across, just around that time, because I started to, like, I was looking into the concept of a bird cage, because I never really thought about it. And that's when the song Legends Never Die came into my mind. Legends never die. And it's true of Luffy. He hasn't died, and he doesn't, even when people think he has. And it was the same with Jesus. Jesus defeated death itself. Legends never die. Incredible. You know, and people love listening to those songs, playing games, whatever. I don't get it, because I'm like, I get it in terms of doing it, like, because I do it, but I don't get it where it doesn't actually affect who you are as a person. And I think school has made it too easy for everybody to just write things up. Oh, this is just myth and legend. This isn't real anyway. Where you can't actually still take away the fundamental lessons of these things sometimes, you know? Anyway. I'm going to leave guys too. I've been talking too much. I probably seem quite tired right now. I actually am quite tired, but whatever. Because if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.